I jump out of bed like a cheetah transforming into downward dog. I combine HIIT with my morning yoga. My muscles are shocked from 8 hours of no movement to a speed run of chaturangas. So you can bet I can think of nothing but my muscles burning. Mindfulness achieved. Then I sumo squat my way to the bathroom. Okay, so this is exaggerated, but only a wee little bit. I definitely had a no pain, no gain mentality for the first 7 years of losing weight. And no wonder, given what I saw in every workout vlog on YouTube. Ironically, it was when I scaled back my workouts that I saw the most progress, and I started enjoying them. And I'm going to show you day by day my full week of workouts for 11% body fat loss and maintenance. Starting tomorrow. Nothing like a Saturday morning walk, especially with no work afterwards. Funny thing, I used to think that walks are actually not exercise. I had a very warped sense of what exercise for weight loss actually looks like. All thanks to sport movies showing literal blood, sweat, and tears, and deprecating jokes in every other TV show.
Is this what it's like when humans exercise? This is terrible. Why would you ever exercise?
I mean, if Supergirl can't handle it, who am I to handle it? While all of this felt haha funny when I was younger, it rapidly became not funny once I realized I was shopping for bigger and bigger size clothes every year. That everyone could walk faster than me. That I didn't recognize myself in photos. That I didn't want to be in photos. I also didn't want to do what I understood exercise to be. An hour-long sweat session where I feel like I'm dying at the end. Anything less than this intensity being a waste, because then I wouldn't be burning maximum calories per minute. I must also somehow fit these 6 days a week hour-long sessions into my packed schedule, and through sheer willpower and prayers pick this thing I dread over other things I could be doing. Walking didn't fit any of this crazy criteria, so of course I thought it wasn't enough to lose weight. So what did I do? Find a trainer to guilt myself into sticking to torture. And boy was it torturous. Before my sessions, I would be shit scared. Literally. I was so nervous that my bowels would go into overdrive before every workout without fail. This meant that I made it to my trainer sessions maybe half the time. So on my weigh-in days, my progress was also really inconsistent. Some weeks where I managed to push through, sticking to my plan, I'd see progress. But after a few weeks of powering through sheer willpower, I'd think, I've been so good, I can slack off a little. Spoiler alert, it was never just a little. It would start off with, I'll just take this next workout off. But then it would turn into 2 workouts, then 3 workouts. And suddenly, it's been a month since I last left my couch. You'd think after the first time this cycle happened, I'd not fall for this faulty logic. And yet I'd think every time, this time it will be different. I will use more willpower this time. You know that quote, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results? Guilty. This cycle went on for 7 years. Until I got a kick in the butt in the form of a medical emergency. Inexplicably, on a flight one day, I felt I couldn't breathe. I was hooked to heart monitors for days, and the result? Nothing wrong. Continuing for another 7 insane years in the cycle became unacceptable. Come hell or high water, I was going to break out of this cycle. The first thing I did was some honest self-interrogation. So, why do you keep slacking off after making progress, huh? Because my workouts are hard? I need a break? Okay, how about you make your workouts easier? What if I don't lose weight with easier workouts? Are you losing weight now with the hard workouts? Good point. Go on. So say you reduce the number of days you're working out. Does that help? Not sure. I don't really enjoy the workouts I'm doing right now. Hey, why don't you make the workouts enjoyable? And what's enjoyable for me is what my dream life would be. A life of adventure. I want to walk the Camino de Santiago trail in northern Spain. I want to hike to the base of Mount Everest. I want to surf. I want to do sail and bike trips. Surprise? None of this involves the pure hypertrophy style workouts I was doing. What motivates me in my soul is so different than what I was doing. No wonder I didn't enjoy my workouts. So since my dream life includes a lot of hiking, biking, and swimming, cardio is key. And so is strength endurance style style resistance training. And finally, because both cardio and resistance training tighten my muscles, I need to make stretching a part of my life so I don't injure myself. Now, at this point, my past self would have fired up a habit app and gleefully entered daily cardio, 3 times a week resistance training, and daily stretching. And then within a week, crashed and burned. Why? Because I'm completely ignoring the commitments, or as I like to call them, buckets I already have in my schedule. And when I realistically put down what my schedule looked like, there was literally no space for anything new. It was completely taken over by this amorphous blob called work. So the first thing I did was to align my schedule with the science principles behind rest and productivity. These were the main principles I followed. We are more likely to stick to plans if we wake up and sleep at the same times. We can at most do 2 hours of deep focus work at a time, and it's best to do this first thing in the morning. It's better to batch similar types of activities together. When switching between activities of similar energies like analytical work to analytical work, a change in energy in between through socialization or exercise can help the first analytical work bucket not push out the next, and combine buckets whenever possible. Now I had space in my schedule. Past me would have rushed in to fill all that space immediately. But there's a 6th guideline. Add things one tiny bit at a time, because this already is a change and no change goes 100% perfectly. Leaving space for slip-ups is crucial. Instead, I added just one tiny bit of cardio to my schedule to start. And then as I saw I was consistent with it, then I expanded it, added other things, and so on until I had the full week of workouts that made me lose 11% body fat, and it's the same workout routine I followed today 8 years later. And here I am on a walk on Saturday. Seattle fortunately has a lot of hills, so I get a good amount of moderate intensity cardio in. And look at this view. This is one of my favorite walks. And I'm also combining buckets on a Saturday, walking plus socialization. If you haven't tried it yet, 10 out of 10 recommend as a way to hang out with friends. It leads to multi-hour walks for me, and it's such a great alternative to dining out all the time. Although, not gonna lie, many of these social walks do end up at a restaurant. This should fuel me for tomorrow's resistance training workout. Happy Sunday! Today is a strength endurance resistance style workout, which is designed to prepare my muscles for the hours of backpacking and swimming in my dream life. There are 3 main components. First is the warm-up. I start with a lacrosse ball to roll my glutes and calves for 30 seconds each. Then I foam roll my upper back for 30 seconds. I then double down on activating my upper back by doing 8 angels, 8 quadruped rotations for chest, 8 cat-cows, and 8 bird dogs for core, 8 leg swings for quads, 8 figure 8s for hip, 8 hinge reaches for hamstrings, and finally 8 standing diagonals to warm up my inner thighs. This whole sequence takes about 5 to 7 minutes. Now my body is ready to deal with weights. For chest, I do a single arm dumbbell bench press, then push up. For back, I do a single arm row, then bent over row. For shoulder, I do single arm sitting press, then lateral raises. For hamstrings, I do Romanian deadlifts, then donkey kicks. For quads, full squats, then Bulgarian split squats. For core, plank, then kayaker. After rest, scapular push-ups, then bicycles. And then I end the session with a cool down. I hold each pose for 30 seconds, or if I feel really tight, 1 minute. I start with a standing calf stretch, then bicep stretch. I try to save time by doubling it with an ankle stretch, multitasking for the win. Then I do a tricep stretch, moving back to legs. I do a quad stretch, then a downward dog for hamstring, and really the whole back chain. Next comes half lord of the fishes for the hips, bound angle pose for inner thighs, table chest opener, and finally forward fold with crossed legs for my IT band. This whole workout, including warm-up and cool down, takes about 40 to 50 minutes. This is the longest formal workout I do, which is why it's on a Sunday. Sundays also include another socialization and walking combo because, hey, it's the weekend. As we move on to Monday, aka work days, you'll see how short workouts can get though. All right, so that was about 3 hours of deep work followed by 1 hour of shallow work. Now I need to switch back to deep work, aka finish writing the next video script, but I'm feeling unmotivated. If I don't stop myself, I'll end up continuing to do busy work while answering emails because it makes me feel like I'm being productive, but really, I'm procrastinating. Fortunately, I remember principle 4. I'm going to use cardio for the energy change. Another reason for a HIIT today is because I don't have time for a walk. I try to do a cardio every day because that's what my dream life looks like. But time availability does factor in during Monday to Friday, so I adjust things on the fly as needed. The HIIT workouts I like are low impact because I don't like banging my joints for longevity reasons, and I like HIIT that involves a good amount of rotational asymmetrical movements like cardio kickboxing. It mimics the training in and multiple planes criteria we talked about earlier. And yep, I'm working out in PJ bottoms and a sweater. It's a workout from home, guys. So that felt amazing. And it was only about 20 minutes. And I'm done with exercise for today. So I'm gonna go grab some lunch and then I'll go back to work. Tuesday mornings, I go for an actual walk.
Now you may be wondering, why don't I just do another HIIT workout instead of going for this hour-long walk? It would be a lot shorter, it would be in the comfort of my own home, and am I not missing out on the afterburn calorie effect? Good questions.
First reason, HIIT done right is very taxing on the body, which means you need to stay away from it for at least a full day to recover. And recovery is when your body actually gains muscle and improves fitness.
Yeah, I'm not shooting myself in the foot by doing another HIIT today.
So this is my favorite spot in Seattle for volunteer park. They have a great view of Lake Washington. Seattle's having a bad hair day.
Second, while HIIT is great for training our bodies for short bursts of energy, low intensity steady state cardio or LISS like walks are better at strengthening our hearts, which lowers blood pressure, keeps you calmer throughout the day, and when doctors talk about exercise for health, the benefits of LISS are what they're talking about. And last reason, practice for my dream life of hiking adventures. Wednesdays are also when I don't have time for a walk. I tend to also have a lot of meetings today, which means I don't even have 20 minutes, which is why jump roping is perfect. I start off with some basic warm-up for a minute, and then switch to 30 seconds on where I jump as many times as I can and 30 seconds off when I rest. I do this 5 times. And as always, I end it with a cool down. This whole thing takes 5 minutes. Like the HIIT on Monday, it is also a great energy switcher and booster, so I try to do it midday after a 3 to 4 hour work session in the morning. The struggle. I used to jump in my living room on this mat, which I thought was absorbing a lot of the vibration. Turns out it was not. My downstairs neighbor's poor dog had a total fit. Thursday is another walk day.
I didn't have time to grab breakfast today, so you know what we need? A donut. Another benefit of these walks has been to my productivity and mental health.
I often don't listen to anything while walking, or if I do, I listen to something low-key instrumental. I let my mind wander. Sometimes it leads me to checking in with myself on whether I'm living the life I want. Sometimes I think through a work problem, and to be honest, I get my best ideas away from the desk on these walks. And sometimes my mind just wanders from thought to thought with no focus. HIIT, on the other hand, is brutal, and there's no way I can do any problem solving or life contemplation during it. And here in my habit tracking sheet, I am going to... Today's the other style of resistance workouts, stabilization endurance. Think of stabilization endurance like strength endurance, but without any of the stable versions. The goal is to challenge my joints and muscles to adapt to unstable surfaces and angles, an important part of our everyday life. This routine also has 3 parts. First part is the warm-up. I do the exact same warm-up as for strength endurance. Second part is the workout. This is circuit style, as in I do one exercise for 10 to 15 reps per muscle group, back to back, and then take a 1.5 to 3 minute rest. Then I repeat the same circuit once or twice more. Personally, it depends on how I'm feeling that day. If I'm feeling tired, I will only repeat it once or twice, but if I'm feeling great, then I'll do all 3 sets. My targeted muscle groups are the same as they were for strength endurance, and here's the actual exercises I do. First is a chest exercise, push-ups. When I get to 15 reps at RPE 8, I could choose to up the load, such as putting my feet on a chair. This would be practicing double progression. Or I could make the exercise more unstable, like doing push-ups on a balance board. This is a fun way to play with stabilization. The second exercise targets my back with bent over row. Then I move on to lateral raises, and that covers upper body for me. Moving on to lower body, I do single leg deadlifts, then Bulgarian split squats. I also do monster walks and ball hip bridges as per my physical therapist's instructions. I have unevenly rotated knees, and these are meant to reduce injury, which I'm more prone to than someone with symmetrical knees. Finally, I do 1 minute plank for core. Then the last part of the routine is the same cool down sequence as I did for strength endurance on Sunday. This whole workout routine takes me 20 minutes if I do it twice and 30 minutes if I do it 3 times. So adding it all up, my weekly workout routine is 10,000 steps on average, not daily, because on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I don't step outside of my house. I do twice a week resistance training. The Friday one takes 20 to 30 minutes and the Sunday one 40 to 50 minutes. And lastly, on days I don't resistance train or walk, I do high intensity, low impact cardio, namely a 20-minute hit on Monday and a 5-minute jump rope on Wednesday. That's it. This is a far cry from the 5 to 6 times hit workouts and 4 times weekly split body routines rotating around on YouTube. And because I'm not dying at the end of any workout, I actually look forward to doing it again. I lost 11% body fat doing this and I maintained 20% body fat all year round thanks to this routine. It's been a total game changer. A note of caution, it took me a year to get to consistently doing these workouts. It wasn't a straightforward journey because figuring out a soul compelling dream life is hard. And then iterating toward an effective minimum dose of workout requires not only a failure-proof mindset, but also science-backed knowledge of what's minimum and what's too minimum. I have guided hundreds of students through this, and if you want my help too, check out the free sneak peek into my Badass Body Boss program in the description and comments below. Now, for those of you thinking of giving it a shot by yourself, you'll need a system to not get stuck in your trial and errors. It took me a whole year to figure out this system, and it's the same system I teach inside my Badass Body Boss program. So you don't want to ignore this video, which walks through each step of the system. I also open up my private journal on how I made adjustments when faced with failures. Check it out now, and always remember, you can do it.